share, subscribe. Shouts out to the Lions Den community. And don't y'all forget to subscribe to the podcast show. Link will be pinned in the top of the chat.
Just name the channel who could bang with us. I'll prove that you are smoking dust. GTV Media is top notch in this game, y'all. You failures only have your self to blame, y'all. Ticket TV and a weapons make you suckers cry. Why don't you close your channel, crawl into a hole and die? Shout out to those who love our movement, no, we'll never flop. Until you get your mouth on LGBT. We are the underground outfit, y'all. We built this whole thing by ourselves, look in y'all. Independence up with self-preservation. If you can't take care of self, then how can you build a nation, y'all? Yeah, we got that merch for the ladies and yes, we even got that merch for the babies and we got appliances and everything that you will need. We got some banging songs that make anemic haters bleed.
Well, all right. Let me start this video. Salute to everybody. It's your boy Ticket. If y'all haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. After you hit the subscribe button, you're going to hit that bell. After you hit that bell, it's going to be an all button. You're going to click that all button. That way y'all will get all the updates when I release the video content on this channel. If y'all can hear me, go ahead and drop a 2 in the comment section. Give a mic check real quick. And we're going to get right into this video on Bishop T.D. Jakes. So if y'all can hear me, let me know in the comment section. Y'all can hear me? Okay. Well, it's time to cook then. Because I told you guys this before, that a lot of people online were running with this Bishop T.D. Jakes allegations without any type of evidence. Bishop T.D. Jakes' name had not come up, and as far as any criminal activity or any breaking any laws or anything, people were just creating rumors and saying things about Bishop T.D. Jakes. And Bishop T.D. Jakes is now going in on this whole situation surrounding the rumors about him and Sean Diddy Combs, and also this situation that is currently going on with him and this brother right here on your screen that goes by the name of Mr. Youngblood. I believe that's his name on the right hand side of your screen. Now, that's the guy that Bishop T.D. Jakes is suing for slander, defamation of character, and we're going to talk about all that right now. So Bishop T.D. Jakes, basically, according to reports coming out of NBC News tonight, Bishop T.D. Jakes says, the pastor played by Diddy Misinformation on YouTube has now asked the court to intervene. Now it says a lawyer for Pastor Bishop T.D. Jakes filed a motion seeking more information about 4 YouTube accounts posting salacious information about him. And we're going to get right into this because this right here is getting funky. So according to the report from NBC News, it says a lawyer representing Pastor Bishop T.D. Jakes is going to new lengths to try to combat artificial intelligence generated misinformation posted about his client on YouTube, saying that the platform has failed to effectively uphold its own policies. Now it says on today, his attorney, Dustin Push, filed a motion in a Northern District of California seeking to subpoena Google, YouTube's parent company, to share information concerning the identity of 4 YouTube account holders. They are purportedly located in Pakistan, South Africa, the Philippines, and Kenya, according to the accounts about sections in on YouTube. And let me remind everybody this. All the commenters, the things you say is logged in to the YouTube system as well, as far as your information. So he could use that as slander too in the comment sections for the people who are making those comments. I just wanted to let y'all know this, just so y'all know that you guys aren't protected either as commenters. The people were saying all these different things, and there hasn't been evidence that has been presented to put this man in this. He can find out your account information, track your IP number, and come down on you too. And that is facts. That is not fiction. But let's keep going. It says the motion said that these accounts made false claims about TD Jakes, citing previous NBC News reporting about AI-generated misinformation on YouTube, and added that elements of the videos were likely created with AI tools, including images used in thumbnails and voiceovers. YouTube videos utilizing AI have been popular for years, and YouTube recently introduced AI initiatives to dramatically increase the amount of AI-generated content and material on the platform. It goes on to say that, and as you guys can see, written here on the screen. And like I said, I see a lot of y'all like putting the comments and stuff in the comment section, man. Like I said before, man, listen, and I'm just gonna say this again. These guys have not been proven guilty of anything in any court of law. So to make these allegations and to say that they did it, you know what I'm saying, without any type of evidence, you know, even with the Jay-Z situation, I always say he deserves a day in court to prove his innocence. You know, we just talk about the allegations, but for people who are actually saying these things, I'm just letting y'all know. But it says AI elements have also been used to spread misinformation on videos that have the potential to make a large profit for both YouTube and their creators by monetizing them with ads. The motion filed by TD Jake's lawyer is a significant development in efforts to combat viral AI-generated misinformation on the platform, being one of the first of its kind attempting to unmask the creators behind it. In previous reporting, a YouTube creator behind similar content previously confirmed their use of AI tools to NBC News, and AI detection experts found a high likelihood of similar content involving AI-generated images and audio. Now, YouTube didn't immediately respond to requests for comment. In the last year, Jakes has been the subject of hundreds of YouTube videos, right, that have received millions of views, part of a torrent of misinformation that stemmed from speculation surrounding allegations made about Sean Diddy Combs, with whom Jakes has been associated with in the past. Since Combs was first accused of abuse in a lawsuit he settled with Cassandra Cassie Ventura in November of 2023, a flurry of allegations, including sex trafficking, have been made against the rapper and record executive who was arrested in September and is awaiting trial while in custody. An attorney for Combs denied Ventura's allegations and said the settlement was not an admission of wrongdoing. Combs has denied other allegations made in subsequent lawsuits, pleaded not guilty in the criminal case, right? Alongside the coverage, alongside the real news coverage of the Combs case, an online misinformation ecosystem targeting Black celebrities has flourished. In January, NBC News identified dozens of videos with hundreds of thousands of views containing AI-generated misinformation about Sean Combs, TD Jakes, and people like TV host Steve Harvey and actor Denzel Washington. Some of the videos falsely reported the individuals being arrested and others feature thumbnails with fake images of celebrities in bed together. NBC News found that some of the videos were creating used AI tools. YouTube took action on some of the videos and channels NBC News identified. But Jake's attorney wrote in this motion that YouTube has failed to take action on many of the videos he's flagged for the company. Jake is the senior pastor at the non-denominational Christian megachurch, the Potter's House in Dallas, Texas. Since 2021, he hosts a sermon series on Revolt, a media company Combs started in 2013. The rapper stepped down from Revolt last year, selling his stake in March. In 2022, Jakes made a brief stop at Combs' birthday party. In a 2024 lawsuit, music producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones alleged that Combs had planned. Remember I told y'all this? Everybody was talking and just saying that TD Jakes had did this, TD Jakes had did that. But Lil Rod, in his lawsuit, Lil Rod revealed some information in that lawsuit. It says that Jakes made a brief stop at Diddy's birthday party. Everybody took that as, oh, he was at the free calls. I'm just telling y'all what the truth is about the information. In 2024, a lawsuit in 2024, music producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones alleged that Sean Combs planned to quote unquote leverage his relationship with Bishop T.D. Jakes to soften the impact of Cassie Ventura's lawsuit. Combs has not addressed the claim. Jakes has not defended Combs in the wake of Ventura's lawsuit, but he has defended himself from an avalanche of false and absurd videos about him, Combs, and other black celebrities, the motion said. These YouTubers are purportedly using sordid and sensational allegations revolving around Sean Diddy Combs to attack, humiliate, degrade, and defame Bishop Jakes and many other prominent black celebrities, with manufactured claims that he is guilty of the same crimes and lewd and repulsive conduct as Mr. Combs, the motion said. In other words, YouTubers are using Bishop T.D. Jakes' prominence as clickbait to attract unwitting users to view their knowingly false videos for their possibly other foreign companies' financial gain. As described in the motion and in screenshots of YouTube video titles and thumbnails viewed by NBC News, fake images show Bishop T.D. Jakes in a prison jumpsuit, in handcuffs, and in sexual scenarios with other male celebrities. Video titles falsely claimed that T.D. Jakes was arrested, came out as gay, and stepped down from his position at the Potter's House. Right? Y'all see that right there? It goes on to say the motion said Jake's legal action follows a year-long attempt to engage with YouTube's legal counsel on the issue, as well as report the videos that violate YouTube's community guidelines around misleading thumbnails, spam, misinformation, and lewd sexual imagery. YouTube has removed some of the videos, but left a majority up, the motion said. An NBC News review of YouTube search results for T.D. Jakes and T.D. Jakes Diddy on Wednesday surfaced more than 24 videos, with some over 1 million views, with titles and thumbnails containing false information, doctored photos, and lurid claims about Bishop T.D. Jakes. Some of the videos connected Combs to Jakes' recent on-stage health incident. If the motion and subpoena are successful upon receiving information like IP addresses and email addresses Jakes may pursue defamation litigation against the people behind YouTube channels, the motion said. In November, Jakes filed a defamation lawsuit against a man who claimed that TD Jakes sexually assaulted him. The man made a claim on a podcast and no charges were ever filed. Now, let's get to the funk of this. That means that all of y'all in the comment section and all of the YouTube creators that are out here making these unfounded allegations about Bishop T.D. Jakes and others without proof. That's why we always say that everybody deserves their day in the court of law. Because without that evidence, Bishop T.D. Jakes is now have a motion to track you down by your IP address, your email address that your accounts are linked through, and get your personal information to sue each and every one for slander and libel and defamation of character. Now, this situation goes on. This goes on. Now, as this goes on, we're going to talk about this right now because this goes on to his motion, right? His motion. And listen, I do have to say this. I've seen the screenshots where they have him in the bed and stuff with people. That's just like, that's fake screenshots where people have him in the bed and, you know, they have him like, and call him all types of names like that guy in the bed. Like, come on, bro. What we doing? Then here comes the motion right here. Here comes the motion right here, right? So the motion says, and let me say this to you guys, plaintiff's brief in support of motion for expedited discovery, right? Now, again, for you guys who don't know what's going on, Bishop T.D. Jakes, this man right here, did an interview on YouTube with a YouTube channel. The guy name is Larry, Larry, whatever, I forget his name. Larry something live. I think it's Larry Reed Live. I think that's the YouTube channel's name. I'm about to tell y'all in a second. But he did an interview on that channel, Larry Reed Live YouTube channel. And he made allegations that were unfounded to this point against Bishop T.D. Jakes. So what Bishop T.D. Jakes did was, and I'm going to say it again, what Bishop T.D. Jakes did was, Bishop T.D. Jakes, he went and sued this guy. And I'm finna show y'all exactly what he's saying. Now, Thomas Dexter Jakes, T.D. Jakes, versus Dwayne Youngblood. That's the guy y'all seen in the video. John Doe 1, John Doe 2, John Doe 3, John Doe 4, John Doe 5, John Doe 6, John Doe 7, John Doe 8, John Doe 9, and John Doe 10 as defendants that he's suing as well. Plaintiff's brief in support of motion for an expedited discovery, right? And it says, plaintiff Thomas Dexter Jakes, by and through his undersigned counsel, files this brief in support of plaintiff's motion for an expedited discovery that is limited to 2 third-party subpoenas seeking solely documents, a subpoena to be served on an individual that commands production of documents over a narrow time frame, and B, related, a subpoena to be served on an aforesaid individual business that also commands production of documents over a narrow time frame. Plaintiff anticipates that these 2 third-party subpoenas would substantially reveal the identities of Jane Does in this case and thus enable this litigation to proceed more expeditiously and efficiently for the reasons set below or set forth below and in counsel's affidavit in support of the motion filed concurrently herewith, the court should grant plaintiff's motion for expedited discovery. Number one, relevant, factual and procedural background. On November the 25th, 2024, the plaintiff filed a complaint, TD Jakes, in this matter, alleging that Dwayne Youngblood, the guy I showed y'all on that picture, was liable, right? For libel per se, all defendants, including John Doe's 1 through 10, were liable for civil conspiracy to commit libel per prior instituting this proceeding on November the 22nd, 2024. Counsel for the plaintiff contacted attorney Tyrone Blackburn, right, that delivered a letter labeled as an appearance letter, preservation notice, and offer of settlement indicating that he represented Mr. Youngblood by telephone and left a voicemail to return the call. The call was never returned. Once the complaint was filed by email dated November the 25th, counsel contacted Anthony Blackburn to inquire whether he would accept service on behalf of his client. In response, we were unceremoniously told to proverbially pound sand and to serve Mr. Youngblood. By December the 4th, 2024, efforts to serve Mr. Youngblood have been unsuccessful. Accordingly, in an email exchange dated December the 4th, 2024, with attorney Blackburn, we inquired as to whether Mr. Blackburn had changed his position regarding waiver of service. In response, once again, attorney Blackburn refused to waive service, insisting that the plaintiff serve Mr. Youngblood. Attorney Blackburn never stated whether he represented Mr. Youngblood for the purposes of this lawsuit, right? Next page. TD Jakes. They say, subsequently, the plaintiff was able to execute service on defendant Youngblood, and on December the 9th, 2024, the clerk of court noted that the summons had been returned, executed by the plaintiff, and that the defendant Youngblood was served late in the evening on December the 4th, 2024. Defendant Youngblood's answer is due on December the 26th, 2024, which is next week. At this point, no attorney has filed a notice of appearance on behalf of defendant Youngblood, and Mr. Youngblood explicitly rejected an offer to accept more time to respond to the complaint. Plaintiff submits that based on the exchanges with attorney Blackburn and the absence of any notice of appearance in this litigation on behalf of defendant Youngblood, reasonably speaking, we do not have opposing counsel with whom we can confer on the subject, right, of this motion, and we do not anticipate defendant Youngblood to provide information at this juncture that will resolve the subject of this motion. Given the criminal background of defendant Youngblood and on the information and belief, the prior background of his co-conspirators, we submit that there is a very real danger that the information plaintiff seeks to identify John Doe's and provide proper factual articulation in an amended complaint will not be preserved long enough to be able through the normal discovery process. Here, plaintiff asserts that a prima facie claim for conspiracy to commit defamation. Plaintiff alleges that defendant Youngblood acted with others to publish and broadcast the false claim that Bishop Jakes groomed him and sexually assaulted Youngblood on a podcast reaching over 100,000 persons, knowing that making such false claims on a podcast that reaches such a broad audience of listeners would harm Bishop Jakes. To wit, a person believed to be acting in concert with defendant Youngblood, that is, the podcaster, identified in the complaint as co-conspirator number one, falsely claimed in sum and substance that Bishop Jakes had engaged in settlement discussions with Youngblood regarding his claims, thereby trying to give a patina of veracity to defendant Youngblood's accusations. No such settlement ever took place. The first podcast occurred on October the 28th, 2024. In an effort to maximize their efforts, they launched a second broadcast on November the 3rd, 2024, where they attempted to more clearly target the false claim of sexual assault against Bishop T.D. Jakes by, in sum and substance, stating that Bishop Jakes restrained defendant Youngblood and forcibly kissed him, as opposed to the first podcast where defendant Youngblood alleges that they embraced at the end of hours-long, wide-ranging conversation about faith and life and parents. Plaintiff alleges that the primary motivation for these acts is money. The defendant demanded $6 million, or in effect, the podcast, two of which had already been produced, would continue. And yet a third podcast that aired mere hours after the complaint and this action was filed on November the 25th, 2024, the podcaster admitted that he had seen at least some portion of the $6 million extortion letter sent to the plaintiff and further admitted that he knew about the letter. 11/25/24, Larry Reed Live. Bishop T.D. Jake goes after Dwayne Youngblood. 10 minutes, 37-second mark. Moreover, the podcaster states he knew the letter was being emailed to Bishop Jakes. 11/25/2024. Larry Reed Live. Bishop T.D. Jakes goes after Dwayne Youngblood. 10:43-minute mark. In another podcast, the podcaster concedes that he often pays interviewees on his show, and that to the extent they realize financial compensation for their grievances, the podcaster expects to be compensated. Moreover, in the earlier November the 3rd, 2024 podcast, the podcaster admits that he had knowledge of the monies that might be paid to defendant Youngblood as a result of his interviews. More particularly, during the November the 3rd podcast, Youngblood is asked by a guest whether anyone has reached out to him to pay him off. The podcaster interposes his own answer to the question by stating in sum and substance that he can answer that question for sure, responding in the positive. 11/3/2024, Part 2. Larry Reed Live interviews Dwayne Youngblood. The abused became the abuser. 1:52-31-second mark. At this point, plaintiff submits that we have reasonable basis to believe that A, the podcaster has knowledge of defendant Youngblood's plan to obtain money by making false statements against the plaintiff, including knowledge about $6 million extortion letter sent to the plaintiff, and B, some financial compensated was provided to defendant Youngblood by the podcaster to participate in the podcast interviews where the false statements were launched. Further on information and belief, plaintiff submits that there was a plan between and among defendant Youngblood and his co-conspirators, including the podcaster, to share an anticipated extortion payment once made. Moreover, the podcaster was able to realize other channels of financial gain by launching the series of podcasts related to defendant Youngblood's false statements against plaintiff. November the 25th, 2024, podcast alone, by the podcaster's own admission on the live show, attracted 5,607 viewers to the YouTube show. At the end of the show, the podcaster requested that those 5,607 persons make a donation to his show if they enjoyed the update. A banner appeared on the screen advertising that such donations could be made through a wider number of mechanisms, including PayPal, Venmo, and Zelle. It says that the identity of John Doe's is essential to efficiently advancing this matter. Without requested early discovery described herein, plaintiff submits that he will be A, unreasonably delayed in amending the complaint to include other culpable parties, and B, risk irritant conferences with the court once those parties are later added during traditional formal discovery, and C, suffers the burden along with other litigants of potentially avoidable disjointed motions initially challenging the complaint, which in turn will likely disrupt the orderly flow of the case management plan in this case. Here, the plaintiff knows the identity of the podcaster. However, Bishop Jakes requires expedited discovery to further develop the factual matter to properly and appropriately support naming the podcaster and the podcast company as named defendants, in this case in accordance with federal rules of civil procedure. Plaintiff anticipates that the requested information in connection with these two subpoenas will also reveal the identity of other Jane Does who will also be named as a result in the expedited discovery. Number two, statement of questions involved in consideration of the administration of justice and the possible prejudice or hardship to the defendant. Does good cause exist justifying expedited discovery by plaintiff? Proposed answer, yes. Legal standard for expedited discovery. The plaintiff acknowledged that generally the federal rules of civil procedure do not permit formal discovery before the required Rule 26F scheduling conference occurs. However, courts may permit expedited discovery before the Rule 26F conference upon a good showing, a showing of good cause. Good cause may be found where the need for expedited discovery and consideration of the administration of justice outweighs the prejudice. Courts routinely allow early discovery where it will substantially contribute to moving the case forward and is narrowly tailored for that purpose. Among other factors, courts consider: one, whether a preliminary injunction is impending; two, the breadth of the discovery request; three, the purpose for requesting the expedited discovery; four, the burden of the defendant of compliance with the requested discovery; and five, how far in advance of typical discovery process the request was made. Then you go to the argument. The argument is next. We go to the argument. The argument is next. Now, good cause. In this instance, a threshold matter. Plaintiff deserves a prompt adjudication, right? Adjudication of his claims against the defendants, which necessarily begins with an ability to identify persons involved with defendant Youngblood in his efforts to systematically defame Bishop T.D. Jakes in exchange for a quote unquote payoff and other related financial gains. Plaintiff has already developed some information that would support factual articulation of at least one co-conspirator, but requires additional specific information that would support elaboration of the conspiracy claim, including the mechanics of conspiratorial conduct, thus bringing to light an even clearer picture of the behavior at the issue in this case and the persons involved. This particular need directly supports administration of justice in this case. Defendant Youngblood is not prejudiced by this expedited discovery, and it does not impose any hardship upon him. This application does not deprive defendant Youngblood of opportunity to object and intended Rule 45 subpoenas because naturally he is able to articulate any opposition by responding to this motion. Moreover, the returns from Rule 45 subpoenas will be made available to defendant Youngblood in the normal course as required by the FRCP. Further, the Rule 45 subpoenas do not require any production from defendant Youngblood. So even if defendant Youngblood is pro se in this action, the application does not request any material from him where he might otherwise be prejudiced in the absence of an attorney. The requests under the anticipated subpoenas are narrowly tailored. First, in terms of Rule 45, subpoena directed to the podcaster, the request can be grouped analytically in the following manner. Requests 1 through 3, intended to establish actual identification, which is critical for properly identifying the punitive defendant. Requests 4 through 5, probative of the relationship and interactions between putative defendant and defendant Blackburn over approximately 3-month frame, encompassing a period slightly before the first podcast, and then the period during 2 of the 2 podcasts. Request 6 through 8, information that would likely elaborate upon statements already made by the podcaster, including his knowledge about a November 15th extortion letter and his interaction with attorney Blackburn prior to the letter being sent to the plaintiff. Request 9, data and material that would that would augment plaintiff's current understanding about the putative defendant's financial motivation to act in furtherance of and in accord with defendant Youngblood's false allegations against Bishop T.D. Jakes. Fundamentally, none of the requests 1 through 3 can reasonably pose a burden to the putative damage or defendant, proving your actual legal name and address is something most persons engage with every day. It goes on. Across context, with respect to remaining requests, the putative defendant opened the proverbial door on the inquiries at minimum by and through his November 25th podcast that took place specifically in response to the filing of this lawsuit. Again, during that podcast, the putative defendant A described having knowledge of the extortion letter. B admitted to having seen at least some aspects of the letter. C strongly alluded to knowing what the extortion letter stated before it was sent to plaintiff. Most third parties object to Rule 45 subpoenas because they don't want to be bothered with litigation that does not involve them. However, here, the putative defendant specifically, intentionally, and deliberately interposed himself in matters of the lawsuit by his own provocative statements that raised substantive questions about his role and related legal liability as a participant in the conspiracy, all on a public broadcast and in full face of and with understanding that the lawsuit has been filed. The second Rule 45 subpoena on the company is similar in scope. B, the time frames for the requested information are narrow. The requests largely mimic those in the first Rule 45 subpoena and are intended to avoid a situation where the podcaster claims not to have requested documents such as emails or texts that are otherwise maintained on corporate devices or systems. We submit that the reasons for the subpoena described above, on balance, favor the court granting a motion and permitting expedited discovery as described here. Again, the scope of anticipated discovery is narrow. The purpose is clear. Effectuate a process through which the co-conspirators in this matter can be quickly identified and the complaint be expeditiously amended so as to include those persons along with a proper and appropriate description of their role in the conspiracy, as y'all see right there. And then it says, conclusion, for the foregoing reasons, plaintiff respectfully requests this motion be granted. Let me tell y'all what this is saying, y'all. TD Jakes is trying to put in all of the other people in the lawsuit as well. 10 other people TD Jakes is trying to have included on this lawsuit on social media, I believe, because he has Jane Doe's 1 through 10. And what they're doing now is they're tracking down those people to get their names included in an amended lawsuit. And so now Bishop T.D. Jakes is going after all these guys who, basically he said defamed his name without any type of evidence, And so you guys definitely let me know what y'all think, man. I tell people all the time, y'all think it's a game until these people, like I said, you got to watch what you say in them comments too, because they have your IP address. They can come track you down easy to your IP. And I mean that. I don't, you guys don't understand. These people are watching these things, man. So that's why you always watch what you say, how you say it. You know what I'm saying? And these are facts. You know what I mean? That's why when we come in here, we always say people are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law if they're being accused of something. Or if they're not being accused of something, we say they're not being accused. We'll talk about the accusations. But we can't say a person is guilty of something unless, you know what I'm saying? That's why I always tell y'all got to watch our words. You can't, when you say, oh, yeah, they guilty of this. No. You think, you feel, your thought process is. Not that they are. Those statements are different, So when people say different things, see, this person says we have our right to public opinions. You're right, you do. But what you don't have a right to is a public fact that's not factually proven. Meaning, people who use comments that say, oh, this person is a power bottom or something like that. Well, that has not been proven in any court of law. That's slander. So it just depends on your words. You understand what I'm saying? What are your words? How are you using your words? Your words mean everything. And I think that people need to understand that the way you say your words mean everything. The way you say that's not an opinion, sir. That's not an opinion. Let me give you an example. If I say, hey, man, he a homosexual, that's not my opinion. That's something I stated as a fact. See, that right there, sir, you don't know how to talk. And people like you, you'll get destroyed anywhere, sir. That is not an opinion. What an opinion is I think he's a homosexual. And I'm not talking about Bishop T.D. Jakes. I'm just saying in general. That's an opinion, boy. See, you should have went to school to learn the English language. because the way you say things can be a difference in between one thing and another thing. So if you say something, you have to be sure that you say it in a way that leaves you in a non-liable position. You understand what I'm saying? Right? So if you're just saying, like, for example, if I say, oh man, he a thief, and I don't have no proof that he stole something, that's slander. Now, if I say, hey man, I think he might have did that, that's not slander. Because that's your opinion. I think he might have did that. That's your opinion. But if you're saying, oh yeah, he a thief, that's slander. That's slander. And people saying, oh, he's going outside. What is he supposed to do? He's supposed to defend his name. Everybody out here saying all these different things about him. He's supposed to defend his name. Straight up. If he wasn't saying nothing and if he wasn't defending his name, y'all would still call him guilty. So these are all the facts. You know? Me personally, I don't know whether he's innocent or guilty or not. I don't know. Excuse me, sir. You're wrong. We're not on a public platform. This is a private platform. YouTube is a private entity, sir. So once again, you don't know anything to gift. While you're on YouTube's platform, you have what we call a guideline of rules, son. And those guideline of rules, YouTube can get you out of here ASAP. You understand what I'm saying? Because YouTube is a private entity. See, that's your problem right there. You don't even know where you're at. You don't even know where you're at. So you're just talking, sir. That's all you're doing is talking. You don't even know what you're talking about. You don't even know what you're talking about, sir. So you're a troll, sir. So I'm going to let you stay trolled. You're a troll. You have zero idea what you're talking about. And you make yourself sound ridiculous. You have to be educated before you speak on these things, sir. Can't just come saying anything. It be the broke dudes saying this stuff too. Dudes that ain't got nothing. Straight up. Straight up. And Kiera, brush your teeth, ma'am. Brush your teeth. Brush your teeth, ma'am. Talking about some, Tricky got the nerve to talk about Bronny. He averaged, lady, I played 16 years professional ball. My last year, I played 4 games, tore my knee out, girl. Year 16, girl. The hell wrong with you? You know what I mean? People make it 16 years playing professional basketball. And take that cheap ass weave out your head too, on your way out. A weave of dirty. The hell wrong with you? You got about 3-4 bald spots in the side of your head, and you got that fake bun on top of your head. Take that shit out your head, girl. And stop playing with me. And go get that shit fixed up or something. Get that shit patched up, girl. The hell wrong with you? You come in here and got that shit hanging off by threads. Period. And you got a nerve to put a bun on top of that. With them thin sides. Get your ass out of here. So salute to everybody in the building. Like, share, subscribe. Appreciate all y'all that's up in here. Salute to all of y'all. Yeah, she gonna put a bun on that. How you gonna put a bun when you ain't even got nothing on the sides? Your size is thin and you gonna put a full thick bun on top. Man, get that, man. I'm gone, man. Man, get the hell up, man. Hey, yo, video over with, man.